In a hidden valley between mist-covered mountains, there was an ancient monastery where the monks spoke no words, not by vow, but by understanding. They had discovered that silence was not an absence, but a profound presence. To this place came Haru, a young traveler weary of the world's noise. His heart was restless, filled with unanswered questions, and his mind was like a river overflowing after a storm. How will I find what I'm seeking if no one here speaks? He wondered as he crossed the wooden bridge that creaked under his feet. An elderly monk greeted him with a serene smile and, without saying a word, motioned for him to follow. Haru obeyed, though inside him, anxiety flared like a growing flame. They entered a simple garden. Stones, moss, water whispering in a nearby stream. The monk sat on the ground and pointed to an empty space beside him. Haru, confused, sat down as well. Silence enveloped them, dense yet welcoming. At first, Haru fought against it. His mind insisted on seeking words, on filling the space. But little by little, like snow melting under the sun, his resistance began to soften. As evening fell, Haru felt something strange. Amid the distant song of a bird and the constant murmur of the water, a stillness arose within him. A stillness he had never experienced before. It was not the silence he had feared. It was a living, vibrant silence, full of something invisible yet deeply tangible. In that wordless space, answers began to emerge to questions he hadn't even known he was asking. They did not come in the form of phrases or reasoning, but as gentle intuitions, like whispers from the heart. The elderly monk, still without speaking, took a small wooden bowl, filled it with water, and offered it to Haru. The young man accepted it with both hands, grateful, though not fully understanding its meaning. The monk simply smiled. No explanation was needed. In that moment, Haru understood. Some teachings are not meant to be heard. They are meant to be felt. In the silence, the water, the breeze, the warmth of a simple gesture, everything spoke of something far greater than any word could ever express. That night, Haru slept in a small cell of the monastery, built of wood and stone, lit only by the moon timidly slipping through a narrow crack. He woke before dawn, drawn by a soft murmur, like the echo of a dream. He stepped barefoot into the courtyard, where the mist still caressed the earth. There he saw the elderly monk, standing before the horizon, watching as the first ray of sunlight pierced through the fog. Haru approached him, and without asking for permission, stood by his side. Neither of them spoke. They remained in silence, contemplating the simple miracle of a new day. And then, as if the very dawn itself were speaking, Haru understood something that words could never have taught him. He didn't need to force answers, because everything he sought already existed in the present moment. In the vastness of silence, he found everything his soul had ever longed for. Over the following days, Haru stopped desperately searching for answers. He simply devoted himself to living each moment, sweeping the garden, fetching water from the stream, accompanying the monks on their silent walks. And the quieter the outer world became, the clearer his inner world grew. Sometimes, while watching a leaf fall or feeling the wind brush against his face, a deep clarity would pass through him, as if every small detail contained universal secrets. He realized that silence was not a void to be filled, but a sacred space where life itself could reveal itself without distortion. It wasn't silence that he had been lacking before, but the ability to truly listen to it. And so, without even noticing, Haru began to change. His steps grew lighter, his gaze deeper, his presence more serene. Without uttering a single word, the monastery was teaching him the most important lesson of his life. One afternoon, while gathering dry leaves by the pond, Haru saw a young monk trying to catch fish with his bare hands. The water churned, the fish slipped away, and the boy, frustrated, moved his hands faster and faster. The elderly monk approached silently. Without effort, he calmly dipped his hand into the still water, and as if the fish offered itself willingly, he held it for a moment before gently returning it to the pond. In that moment, Haru grasped another lesson without the need for words. In stillness, life draws near. In haste, it slips away. That night, by the faint firelight, Haru closed his eyes and allowed the silence to completely envelop him. He was no longer a visitor searching for something. He had become part of what had always been there, the silent pulse of the universe. The answer he had so long sought was not a hidden message waiting in the distance. It was the melody his heart had always known, simply waiting to be heard. As the days went by, Haru no longer felt the need to speak or to ask questions. He had become part of the monastery's natural flow, like another stone in the garden, like another drop in the stream. One morning, the elderly monk approached him and, with the same serene grace he always carried, placed a small bronze bell in Haru's hands. Without a word, he bowed respectfully and walked away. Haru understood the gesture. The bell was not a call to break the silence, but a reminder that true sound is first born within. He looked at the bell, held it against his chest for a moment, and smiled. There was no need to ring it. Silence itself was already music, a music that resonated through all that he was and all that existed. Haru no longer needed any more signs. He had found what he had been seeking, the profound truth that in silence, there is no absence, only an infinite presence. When the day came to leave, Haru felt no sadness. The monastery had taught him that sacred places are not confined to space. They are carried within the heart. He crossed the old wooden bridge once more, now without fear or anxiety. Each step he took was steady, each breath full and complete. The world beyond was still noisy, fast, filled with voices that stumbled over one another. But within Haru, an unchanging space had opened, a refuge where silence spoke louder than any word. And in that refuge, he knew he would always find the answers life placed before him. Sometimes, when doubts returned, it would be enough to simply close his eyes, listen to the murmur of the wind or the beating of his own heart, and remember, silence is not empty, it is full of everything that truly matters. As the years passed, Haru became a guide for other lost travelers. He did not found a school, write books, or give grand speeches. His teaching was simply his way of being present. The calmness of his gaze, the patience of his steps, the way he knew how to listen without rushing to respond. To those who came to him seeking quick solutions, Haru offered only a simple invitation. Come, sit with me in silence. And there, under the shade of a tree or beside the flowing river, silence did its work, without the need for words. For Haru had understood an eternal truth. The deepest answers do not come from noise or explanations. They come in silence, a silence that is not empty, but full of life, of meaning, of love. A silence that, like a sacred echo, continues to resonate in all those willing to listen.